Hey everybody, welcome to Comics CC Studio. I am your host Brent, and we are talking about the Black Panther, Ghost Rider, and DC getting it together. That's right. So I have a little visual here for me. All right, we are live. So here we go. Black Panther. That's right. Black Panther. Big casting news. San Diego Comic Con, Ryan Coogler was on stage with Letitia Wright and Winston Duke and announced that T'Challa's son will return in Black Panther 3. David Johnson will be the actor who plays the late Chadwick Boseman's son. Congratulations, and I'm sure you will do the legacy of this character proud. Welcome to the world of superheroes. So, I wanted to talk a little about how Marvel has really kept up with the Black Panther legacy even after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. And some things also I think that DC needs to learn from them as well. So I'm very grateful for Marvel continuing the legacy of Black Panther as well as Chadwick Boseman, even though I'm sure it wasn't easy. They could have just pulled the plug and been like, you know what, this was our amazing man and actor, and that's all we're wanting to do. But they didn't. They found a way forward, new characters, new stories, Shuri becoming Black Panther and Black Panther 2, as well as introducing Namor. I liked her more in the first Black Panther. However, she is continuing the legacy of the character. And also, so I want to jump to, first of all, congratulations, and we're getting a new Black Panther, which is amazing. And it's so cool to see Marvel not getting stuck in, well, we only have one character and therefore we can't we can't change up the character's story at all. Maybe it's a little bit harder to do with like Batman, Superman, but even there's other characters that you could do if you wanted. For instance, there's an alternative Superman, Calvin Ellis, who's the president in his world, and he is Superman in his world. I thought it was cool, Calvin Ellis, Kal-El, but why not tell those stories? But this is not about Superman. This is about Black Panther, but also it is about DC. And what I want to say is, so with Black Panther 3, Marvel, and I'm talking about prior, like, I mean, Blade is also technically a Marvel film, and there was 3 films of those, so let's not forget those. But by and large, I'm talking about the current MCU. So with Black Panther 3, Marvel will have 4 MCU films led by black superheroes. And what I would love is to see DC build a comparable solo film franchise around a hero like Black Lightning or another black superhero from its own universe. DC currently has 2 films in Black Adam, the more recent film in the DCEU, as well as Steel, which was played by Shaq. And Steel, if you're not familiar with it, is a character in the Superman universe. So he was also done in Superman and Lois, but again, that show specifically focused around Superman and his family, while Steel was just a supporting cast member. I know they've got the Green Lanterns coming out with John Stewart as the Green Lantern, but again, that's called Green Lanterns. It's not called John Stewart the Green Lantern. So what is my point? So, like Black Lightning, he did have his own TV show, and it lasted 4 seasons. I'll be fair, I have not watched it yet. I need to. I probably should to support this, right? I don't want to be a hypocrite and be like, oh, what? Put these things out there and not watch them. However, I have seen Captain America, Brave New World, and I've also seen Black Panther movies as well. And I'm not, touting myself around saying I'm some great guy for seeing them. I mean, tons of people have seen them. But it's more about, like, with Black Lightning, bringing a wider scope of representation to the big screen from DC Studios, and I don't know why we can't. Like, why can't we bring Black Lightning Why couldn't we actually do a story from Brave New World? You had the original Captain America, and his name is escaping me right now. Forgive me, but you had an original Captain America. Oh wait, that's Marvel as well. So I digress. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. But nonetheless, my point is, why not bring Black Lightning to the big screen? Why not just have a movie, call it John Stewart, the Green Lantern? Or don't even put Green Lantern in there. Like, let's get some movies out about these characters. Right? Why not do a Hawk Girl trilogy? Why not do there's characters that you can show representation with that are original characters, like the Black Panther, right? So Black Lightning, that's the main one that I know of in the DC universe. Or let's make a new DC character. Static Shock, I don't know if he's DC or Marvel. And so forgive me, it's basically like me wanting DC to take steps that Marvel has taken. Like, we have now 3 Black Panther movies. We have a Captain America, black-led Captain America, right? And so, yes, there was, Harrison Ford was in that, other people. So it's not like, oh, we can only do a black character movie. That's not what I'm saying. But I think you need that black-led hero in the DC universe. They came out with Black Adam, but we've only got one of those. I'm not saying that, like, you couldn't have, with The Rock, couldn't have gone forward with that more than you did, but they haven't, right? And that was back with the kind of in the Snyderverse era. And so, yeah, I just would like, if there's ever someone with DC Studios, James Gunn, or anyone that watches this or that knows them, like, hey, why don't we get this going? Like, I will fully support it. I will put it on my channel. My channel is not huge. I've got 30 subscribers, right? But nonetheless, like, I will support it. I'll Instagram, whatever. Like, let's get this thing rolling for the DC universe sooner rather than later. We've got Batman, we've got Superman, and which I obviously love. But I think it's just time to kind of branch out. And I know, with Lanterns, they're branching out a little bit, bringing in John Stewart. But why is this not a movie, right? Why isn't he the main Green Lantern? Like, we can do this stuff. Like, we had Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern, and some people at the time thought it was horrible CGI, whatever. It wasn't that bad of a film, I didn't think. Yeah, sure, whatever, all the CGI stuff maybe with practical effects. We all like that nowadays, but it is what it is, and we got it. So, like, okay, that was Hal Jordan's story. Let's move on. Oh, sorry about that, to John Stewart, right? Martian Manhunter, like, that could be a cool story where you're bringing him in, and he's in Supergirl. He played a pretty big part, the TV series with Melissa Benoist. But again, that's a Supergirl show, so he was in, I think, some of the Justice League stuff or extra director's cuts, whatever. But point being, like, congratulations to this young man. Let me see his name again. David Johnson. Thank you, David Johnson. Welcome to the MCU. Welcome to superhero films. I'm sure you'll do great. Ryan Coogler, right? Like, he's doing it. He's bringing it. And so, like, let's support Black Panther. Black Panther 3. Sorry about that. And let's also get some more black representation in the DC universe as far as main heroes. I don't know, I know, so there's a podcast I listen to called Digging for Kryptonite, a Superman fan journey, and I know Anthony Desiato actually liked the Shaq movie. So I'm like, hey, let's bring Shaq back for 2 more and get a Steel trilogy. Why not? You could even bring in David Cornsweet's Superman, right? Now that we actually are in a new era of Superman, right? Like, let's not waste this opportunity. Like, he can make a cameo if you wanted. If not, that's fine too. But, Black Panther 1, I don't think there were really any, other than Agent Ross. I think he had already been in the films. Like, there weren't really any cameos from other heroes in Black Panther, right? And so, it doesn't have to have cameos from other characters just to make it popular. Like, let it stand on its own. Let it be a good movie. Just tell us a good story. You've got tons of comics, source material. But I would say that if you're going to do a brand new idea, do a brand new idea with that character, right? Tell the story of that character, Black Lightning, in a brand new setting. Jefferson Pierce, I think, is either a principal or a teacher also in the comics, or at one point he was. So that makes for a great story, right? Like, there's just so much you can do. Something on Superman and Lois. I think it was not Manchester Black. I'm thinking of the wrong hero here. Bruno Mannheim, I think. There was a season where Bruno Mannheim was one of the villains, and he's just like talking to Superman. He's like, okay, you're out there doing what you do, and you're not paying attention to. It's a very popular city within like the DC universe or Metropolis. Again, I can't think of it. It's like called Suicide Slums or something like that. And he's like, you're not paying attention to us. Like, what the heck, man? I'm the hero of this part of town. What are you doing here, right? And so it's an interesting point. Like, why not bring in these heroes? Black Lightning. Again, that's the only one that I kind of know of. So if you know of another hero in the DC universe, like I said, Static Shock, I'm not sure if he is DC or if he's, but yeah, let's bring these characters to the big screen. I know sometimes they try to maybe do like TV shows first, but like, why? We're in the 21st century, the 2000s, right? 21st century, whatever century this is. Like, it's time for DC and James Gunn and Peter Safran I'm not calling him out necessarily, but maybe I kind of am, like, in an encouraging way. Like, this can be done. Let's proceed forward and bring Black Lightning to the big screen. Or again, if you have another character, please comment below. I would love to hear as well as that. And so, let's see here. And if you did like a Black Lightning movie, you could also bring in, at some point bring him into the Justice League movies, right? There's another character that you have to break up the traditional people. So let me know what you think. Also, if DC were to do a Black Lightning movie, who would you want cast as Black Lightning? Because this is something that doesn't maybe get talked about as much as it should, or at least I don't talk about it as much as I should. And for that, I apologize. But I also, like, it's real. Like, we need these heroes to be representative of all of us, right? I mean, we have T'Challa, which is amazing. Chadwick Boseman, or may he rest in peace. A great man, a great actor. Denzel Washington, all right? Like, there's these Samuel L. Jackson. But again, we don't have even the show that Sam Jackson was in was called Secret Invasion, I think, where the Skrulls. Like, yes, he was the main character, and I appreciate that. But why not just call it Nick Fury? And, like Attack of the Skrulls, whatever you want to do. Oh, wait a minute, that was Marvel. I apologize, Marvel, forgive me. But, because you've already got Black Panther. But I'm just saying, like, there's time, I think the time is now, right? To really just put these heroes out there, and I realize I'm white saying this, so I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm whatever. Not at all. I don't understand, and but I can sympathize, and I can support, and I can put my voice out there and say, like, let's do this, DC. And so I hope I've made a good enough case for DC to to do something like a Black Lightning. So congratulations, young man. Welcome to the DC, or the, I'm sorry, welcome to the MCU, Marvel Universe. By the way, if you're a DC fan, if you're a Marvel fan, you're welcome here. If you're an independent fan, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, Star Wars fan, like any Lord of the Rings, like any fandom is welcome here. I mostly talk about more like non-fantasy stuff, Black Panther, Superman, what else? Eventually, I'm going to be bringing Spider-Man into the mix, Supergirl. So it's mostly like DC, Marvel as well thrown in. But this is a place for all fans, and that's really what I want to build, is a community of fans over on my Patreon, Comics CC Studio, if you want to join. And let's build a community of supportive fans where maybe we don't like everything, right? Anime, like, come on over. I have not done an anime show. I probably should, because anime is humongous. That's not really my thing that I'm into, but if you're into it, I still would welcome you, and I would still welcome the discussions. And though I may not watch every anime thing, oh my goodness, there's so much of it out there. I definitely would love to hear your perspective. Like, why do you like One Piece? Why do you like Naruto, if I said that right? Why do you like Pokemon, right? I'm not a fan of these things, but come on over and let's start a discussion. I'm more than willing to, what do the people want? And I'm more than willing to, share some of those things. But this is something I think I'm passionate about with DC, especially being more, of a Superman fan, Green Arrow fan. It's time to bring in, hey, John Diggle. If you gave me a movie with that character, John Diggle, he is a great actor. Guest appearance, Stephen Amell. Maybe not a lot of people know it if they didn't watch the show Arrow, but John Diggle and Stephen had great chemistry. If you did a movie of Stephen Amell, by the way, hashtag, let's bring him back in the Green Arrow, James Gunn, please. And put John Diggle in, give John Diggle a trilogy. I would watch it. Like his journey in the army, his journey as, Spartan, his journey as all these things. And you could sprinkle in through these other characters as well. Let's give these guys their due on the big screen. Not just the small screen, but on the big screen. So, moving on to other news from Black Panther, Black Lightning representation as far as that goes. Marvel reported, and I checked their website for both stories, because I'm like, you hear this stuff all the time. I'll be honest, sometimes I'm not diligent in my research of it, and I apologize for that, but life is life. So, it's not an excuse, but it is, so. But it's also my channel, so. But I did go to the Marvel website to confirm that Ryan Gosling is reported as the new Ghost Rider, and it's a little bit, congrats to Ryan, welcome to the MCU. And this is weird, I'm a Superman fan mainly. More, I feel like I've gotten more DC oriented a little bit. I started with the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, run by Jason Aaron. Great run, you should check it out. Great storylines. Some of them for me fell flat, some of them were really cool, but yeah, that was where I think comic journey started. It was either that or Star Wars, and then but that was my first full run. But I've since gotten into Superman and things of that nature. And so, yes. So, but going back to Marvel, Ryan Gosling, the new Ghost Rider, congratulations. It'll be interesting to see which Ghost Rider they bring in, but I said, this is my fandom coming out. However, I have a bit of a beef with this choice. If you're a Marvel TV fan from back in the day, you might know why. So in September 20th, 2016 was the year we got a brand new Ghost Rider, not Nicolas Cage in live action, and not named Johnny Blaze. It was Gabriel Luna who portrayed Robbie Reyes in the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, I'm an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. Hashtag bring back Coulson, hashtag bring back May, Daisy Johnson, Mac, all of them. Yo-Yo, bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the big screen. There's another character, Mac. He was the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you watched the TV show. If you didn't, go Google it, find out who he was. But there's another character you could do a great trilogy with. Mac. What about Mac and Samuel L. Jackson reforming S.H.I.E.L.D.? Nick Fury reforming S.H.I.E.L.D.? That would be great. Come on, let's go. All right. So Ghost Rider. So I looked it up. Robbie Reyes first appeared in the all-new Ghost Rider #1 in March 2014. They're created by writer it's either Felipe or Philip Smith. It's probably Felipe. And artist Trad Moore. And that's according to Wikipedia. 2 years later, episode 4, season 4, Mr. Luna brought him to life in live action. So that was very cool for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, I'm sure. This is Hollywood. This is the movies. That's what they do, right? Henry Cavill was not Superman forever. And I know that may bring up a lot of feelings from the Snyderverse fans. I apologize, but that's the reality. Now we have David Cornsweet. At one point we had Christopher Reeve. At one point we had Brandon Routh, right? So in the big screen, that's what happens. Batman has not always been, probably much to some people's chagrin. Yeah, I'm blanking on names, guys. I'm sorry. Anyone that watches. Michael Keaton, right? We got Val Kilmer. We got George Clooney. We got Christian Bale. We have Robert Pattinson. I think Pattinson. Yeah, I think that's his name. We got so there's new characters. Adam West was the TV show, right? So there's new characters that emerge. Like we don't have one actor that plays one character forever. I get that, right? And so I guess another thing that I said, it's a little bittersweet not to see Gabriel Luna again reprising the role, and I get that doesn't happen often. But even still, Mr. Kevin Feige, who I'm not sure likes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for whatever reason, but I digress. I suppose you could use Johnny Blaze again, right? And as far as talking about Ryan Gosling's Ghost Rider, but why not introduce MCU fans to Robbie Reyes, who was already introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? He has a Charger. If you're not sure who Robbie Reyes is, you could check it out, but he has a Charger. I think it's called the Hell Charger, instead of a motorcycle. And so this is something that I'm thinking. If you wanted Kevin Feige, if you want to have Marvel fans, at least Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, go nuts, why not bring in Luna as the current Ghost Rider, right? And heck, I don't care. Call him something else if you want. Like if you're gonna introduce Robbie Reyes with Ryan Gosling, that's fine. But do it like bring in Gabriel Luna. He comes on screen, and he's passing the Ghost Rider to the next rider. I said this, Gosling could be the younger brother that has grown up, the younger brother of Robbie Reyes, and now he's whatever Reyes, and he's the new Ghost Rider, right? So there's all kinds of things you could do and still honor the legacy of Robbie Reyes, if you will, from the show Ghost Rider. Probably none of those things will happen, but they could honor the past character of Robbie while bringing in Ryan as the new Ghost Rider. So what do you think of these casting decisions by Marvel? I like the Black Panther decision. Ryan Gosling, that's going to have to grow on me. Let's do Robbie Reyes, though, right? We've already done Nick Cage, Johnny Blaze, so let's go on. Let's see here. Oh, one more, and I do have another piece of news, actually. And I have a quote, actually, from an article, the DC website I want to talk about. So that was my news on Black Panther and Ryan Gosling as the new Ghost Rider. Just some of my thoughts I wanted to get out there. Now let's move on to Superman in the comic book section. So this is an article, a quote I'm going to be reading from the DC website from Wes Craig, who is doing a Black Label series called Superman the Stranger. So this is strictly from there. If you want to check it out, go to DC. But he says, Superman is my favorite hero, always has been, says writer-artist Wes Craig. I grew up on Christopher Reeve and John Byrne's interpretation, then his animated adventures and All-Star Superman as I grew older. His mythology's always changing with the times, but the version I love the most, and the one that I think, strangely, reflects our modern world best, is the original. You strip away the extra powers, you strip away Ma and Pa Kent and Smallville and Krypton, you boil it down to that explosive first issue of Action Comics, and you have a vital, powerful myth of a brash young man with incredible powers fighting against the corrupt city. That's the story I want to tell. From an article from DC website about Superman the Stranger, and it will be Black Label. So, that was a mouthful. But, this is what I will say. So I recently read Jason Aaron's, like the first 10 issues or so of his Absolute Superman. And that was interesting because you kind of did the same thing. You kind of stripped everything away, but it was like a whole different version of Superman. Yet somehow, some way, I still found that it worked. And here's why I think I thought it worked. Is because, yes, you have Superman at his core, who he is, helping the oppressed. Excuse me, let me take a little drink from my Scotland mug here. As you can see. Coffee from Aldi's, by the way. Aldi's, thank you for being in America. Okay, because I think they're German-based or something, but they're great prices. So this is not sponsored by Aldi, but if you want to sponsor me, Aldi's, feel free. Just reach out, comicsccstudio@gmail.com, and I will put an Aldi's ad there because that's where I shop. But I digress. This is not about Aldi's. This is about Superman and The Stranger by Wes Craig, who will be writing it. He might be drawing it too. I'm not sure, but... so Jason Aaron's version of Absolute Superman worked. However, I think the reason I thought that worked, it was in the Superman titles, which are great, by the way, the main Superman story. There was a lot of other characters that were getting the highlight within the super family, and that's okay. But I think there is something to be said about a classic Superman story. Superman, the Daily Planet, Ma and Pa Kent, The Farm, Smallville, Lois Lane, Jimmy, Perry, and maybe that's it. Like, you might have some other things, but there is something about just a solid Superman story. Clark Kent reporting for the Daily Planet. So, like, it's okay that we have this story coming out. Like, more power to comics, that's great. More, Superman stuff, that's great. It's like Ed Gross says, I follow the S, and that's really cool. And so because of that, will I pick this up? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I like Ma and Pa Kent. I think I like Smallville. I like, what else? Krypton. And again, yes, this is all stuff that's been added. But for me personally, I think it's a little bit better. Kind of gives Superman a little bit more compassion that he maybe had at first. And it was definitely a sign of the times, right? When Action Comics came out, and that's fine. I'm not bashing Action Comics #1. Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, their original idea for Superman, right? Champion of the Oppressed, I think it was. And that's great. Like, let's tell those stories. But I don't know. Just in my opinion, I like, for instance, I'm a what do you call that? When it's like manila or vanilla or just a blah or whatever fan. Like, I like the heroes with their powers. By and large, I like their main stories, and not saying you can't do different things, because that's what you have to do, right? You have to give them a challenge. You have to have them overcome. You have to have them all these different things that makes a good story. But yeah, I don't necessarily like when they lose their powers, or maybe completely, totally. Like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow was great, but she loses her powers for maybe the first issue, and then she gets them back, I think, by issue 1 or issue 2. So it's not a long, long time. And so, yeah, I kind of like all those things that he's taking away. But at the same time, there is a place for people that like those other stories. They're like, no, let's do a more grounded story. Like, it's funny. I think after seeing Man of Steel, I was a little ruined for Superman, because then James Gunn, I felt, brought him down, per se. And I've also argued against that, why I think maybe it was just a threat that was as strong as him, so maybe he was not depowered, but whatever. And I'm like, dang it, Zack Snyder, like, I think the more I think about it, maybe I like that type of a Superman. Again, he can have struggle, he can have let's let's keep him super, right? That's part of the name. But again, back with Action Comics, number one, he couldn't fly. He could leap tall buildings in a single bound, and I think even that was limited. I think he might have been faster than a locomotive, right? Able to change the course of mighty rivers. I think that all came from Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. I may stand corrected on that. If I'm wrong, feel free to mention in the comments when that was part of the mythology, the changing the courses of mighty rivers. But I don't think he could fly. He could jump a really long way, but initially couldn't fly. Again, the Kents weren't really, I don't think, part of his story. There was a couple that adopted him. I think he got sent to an orphanage because he was too powerful. He grew up, his parents died, all this stuff. But I think I like the more modernized tellings of Superman. All that to say. So will I pick it up? Maybe, maybe not. But I like the things he's taking away. So I'm like, well, I'm sure it's for other people, but I don't know it's for me. So, yeah, the current. So, and also, like I talk about, Absolute Superman, again, that worked because it was something fresh, it was something new, it was different, but yet you felt, at least I felt in the first 10 issues, that the core of the character was still there, even though maybe this is an absolute world controlled by Darkseid. Like, there's something about that character that you cannot change at his core, and I think that's what's great about that character. So, that's all for today's video. I am going to do a thing real quick and jump on here with my phone and just see if anyone's watching or any comments that I would need to answer while I'm live. I'm doing this through Zoom, so I apparently on YouTube you have to. Okay, there we go. All right, nobody's watching. Great. I mean, not great. I want people to watch this video, but no comments or anything that I see in the chat, and that's fine. I want people to watch my videos, but also I was like not watching. So on YouTube, you have to have 50 subscribers. I don't know if you know this or not, to actually go live via YouTube. So as of right now, I'm using Zoom, and it's getting broadcast on YouTube, and that is great. Thank you very much, Zoom. Thank you very much, YouTube. If either of you want to sponsor this, I will accept. And if not, that's okay too. So, but hey, you never know who's going to watch, right? So, without further ado, this is Brent with Comics CC Studio. I will CC you later. And as always, just remember, stay super. Also be coming back this Friday. Dylan and I will be talking about Woman of Tomorrow Part 2. That'll be issues, basically the rest of the book that we didn't discuss the first time. We're not going to discuss everything, probably just the main points. But yeah, I would love to have you. I would love for anyone that watches this and likes it to like, comment, subscribe if you like this type of talk. If you like the inclusiveness that we need in comics as well as on the big screen, feel free. And also head on over to Patreon, because I would love for you to join the community. No longer talk about comics alone or with people that aren't really interested. Let's build up a community of people that want to talk about comics in a positive way. Conventions, cosplay. I cosplay Superman as well. I also do a side gig of Spider-Man on the side, appearances for birthday parties. So all those things, as well as Superman, of course. That would be my goal, just to be like the Superman, or not. Technically, I can't because I'm just a cosplayer, but you know what I mean. And if you don't, I'm sorry. But anyways, I will CC you all later. Just remember, stay super.